All right, so we are going to chat quickly about the elements of drama. As you read in the handout, there are 7 elements of drama. We have plots, characters, setting, dialogue, movement, themes, and music, which is a minor element. So there's the 6 main elements, and then music, which is the minor element. We use these to kind of see how they relate to us and how they relate to the play, right? The idea is that we will observe how these elements function together, and we'll analyze what they do within the play. This analyzation will give us, a greater awareness of the elements, right? That's the idea behind this class, is that we're going to read these plays and analyze them based on how we see the 7 elements of drama functioning within them and what that means. So let's start talking about plot. Plot is the action of a drama. It's what happens. It's the story, right? So this is the story of the play. The fact that we have a plot implies that the action has a shape and form that will be satisfying to an audience, right? We have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's told in a smooth and elusive way that really helps to tell the story. So plays can have several interrelated plots or just one. Plots depend on conflict between characters, right? So we're going to look at like mapping a plot. You're also going to read a variety of plays this semester, some of which will have very simple, straightforward plots, and some will have multiple layers of plot upon subplot upon subplot. You'll see that when we get to Shakespeare this semester. His 5-act plays have many, many things going on with them. So for mapping the plot, the first thing we have when we map the plot is exposition. Exposition is simply that. It's an explanation of what happened before the play began and how the characters arrived at their present situation, right? Everything that all of the information that we need to have to follow this story comes in the form of exposition. Suspense is there to help build tension in the audience and in the characters, right? And this further develops the pattern of rising action, right? And suspense goes right along with conflict. So conflict and suspense help to build this action, right? The rising action is the action and the tension building as the play progresses, right? Action achieves its greatest tension as it moves to the climax of the story. The climax is when a major revelation is experienced, usually by the main characters, right? So this is the culminating moment of the story. Once the climax is reached, the plot continues, but we don't call it rising action anymore. We call it falling action, right? Or the French call it the denouement. As the drama reaches its resolution and the characters understand their circumstances and themselves better than they did at the beginning, we have the falling action and the resolution of the play and the story. So that's how we map a plot. So part of your analysis will be to kind of identify the plot and follow a quick map of the plot. The characters, right? The characters are the people involved in the action, right? How do they function within the play? There's main characters, there's minor characters. Characters can also represent things. They can be physical manifestations of ideas, right? Good versus evil, light versus dark, right? Characters can have meaning beyond who they are. The one thing that all characters will fall into is either being a dynamic character or being a static character. So a dynamic character is someone who undergoes an important internal change as a result of the action in a plot, right? We see pictures right here of Ebenezer Scrooge. Ebenezer Scrooge is one of the most dynamic characters in the literary canon, right? So he starts off as this miserly old man and ends as this wonderful, jolly, kind human being. He goes through this major change. From the same story, we can look at a static character, Bob Cratchit, who remains completely unchanged throughout the plot. Bob is the same character at the beginning as he is at the end. Next, we have our setting, right? The setting is the time and place where the action occurs. It also is the scenery and the physical elements that appear on stage to unify an author's stage direction. The direction and the scenery usually comes from a collaborative process between the director and the designers. And you can see that some plays use elaborate, realistic settings, and others can use virtually nothing. And we're going to talk more about how those choices are made later on in the semester when we talk about design for the theater. The next we have is dialogue. Dialogue's the verbal exchange between actors, between characters. Plays depend on this for unfolding. We do not have long descriptive things like novels, right? We don't hear the inner monologue of the characters. We only get information from the dialogue that's in the play. There are, stage directions in plays, but those are not always in every play. They're in different forms of plays. Some plays have very little stage directions and very little setting descriptions. Dialogue is obviously spoken by one character to another, but there's another form of dialogue known as the soliloquy or the monologue, when a character speaks on stage to themselves or to the audience, right? These are thought to be especially truthful moments of theater, and truthful moments of the character. Dialogue can reveal information about place, it can reveal information about time, and it can reveal information about who these characters are. The movement of a play on the page is called stage directions. As I was saying, they tell us where characters are, when and how they move, or what significant moments hold, right? So there are some things that are very specific that the playwrights will include within each of these plays. Modern plays have lots of direction and old plays have little, and that goes back to the tradition of including the original stage directions for the first production of a play. So when you see a play that has been published in the last 100 years and you see all of those very intricate stage directions, those are from the prompt book of the stage manager, and those represent the original directions and the original movements made by actors in the very first production of this play. We don't have that in Shakespeare's plays because the only thing that survived from his shows was the dialogue. The performance is created by the director to fit the action, right? So the director creates specific movement on stage to tell the story that they envision, right? And they also add any additional needs for the play. We have theme. Theme is what the play is about, right? When I ask students what the play is about, I don't want to be told the plot. Right? I know the action of the play. What do you feel about is the play's central message, its central concern, its main theme? What is this play about? Some playwrights include intrusive speeches to announce the theme, but really, like, the thematic material is evenly spread out, makes for a really wonderful, subtle play and good storytelling. Some ideas of theme might be one versus many. If we look at the Greek play Antigone, it's very much about human law versus God's law. When we look at the play Hamlet, it could be said to be about revenge or political corruption or madness. Those are some of the themes that permeate the story. And themes aren't always relegated to one specific thing. There might be multiple themes in a given play, and it's up to the production team to figure out what is the message that they want to send when performing this play. And so they identify the theme that is going to be prevalent in their production. And then finally, we have music. Music's the supporting element. It's a minor element. We don't find it in every single play. We find it obviously in musical theater, but not every play is a musical. There are times where playwrights write songs into the play and designers can incorporate music, right? And again, it's a supporting element to add dimension, mood, atmosphere, place, and communication. And you can find that with the underscoring of music to support a scene can help to tell the scene's emotional weight, right? If it's a sad scene, we're not going to play happy clown music that belongs in a circus, right? So the music is chosen appropriately. If we start to think about the hierarchy of the elements, right, the most important ones are character, plot, and theme, right? The minor ones are setting, music, dialogue, and movement. Every play will have character, plot, theme, setting, dialogue, and movement. Not every play will have music, right? The best dramas balance these elements and create harmony between them to give us a well-balanced theatrical drama. Great. So you can watch the next video on the rising of the moon and see how those elements are incorporated into that play before working on your writing assignment. Thanks.